Going through blowdown.
Does that help your video at all?
Yeah.
So we'll start with blowdown procedure now. So at the end of the day, we're done striping the job. First thing I always like to do is I'll put the pump in reverse. I'll give it a little bit of RPM, 20 to 30 RPM on the box, using your extrude or your single, depending on if you're on extrude or on spray. If we're on extrude, we just use our extrude knob, give this thing, like I said, 20 to 30 RPM. Give it a minute or two to kind of pull material back into the tank. After that time's up, we'll close our knife gate. Locate it up here, we'll close that gate, isolating the material back into the kettle. Once that gate's fully closed, we flip this back and forward, and then we can proceed with our blowdown process. On the yellow side, we have one or two guns or more. We always start with the inside guns and work our way out. So first thing, we'll come down here. We close this valve. Then we go back up here, we'd open gun 2. Visually look and see, make sure the gun is open, material's coming out of it. Make sure the gun is open. Once the gun is open, we'll use our blowdown valve here. Gives us a little bit of air. Give it a little bit more. And then we can open it up all the way. And that's just blown out gun 2. Like I said, we're always starting with the inside gun and working our way out. Once gun 2 is done, we go back up to the switch box, turn gun 2 off, and come back down here, move our pan out. We'll go back up, turn gun 1 on.
Question. Will we have to ever clean out them tubes?
What tube?
Like, that connect it?
Well, we got to clean out the screen every once in a while.
Yeah.
There's a screen in here. Take it off, you pull it out. Probably the first day we really run it, we'll go ahead and clean it.
So it's like the one on the tank.
Yeah, basically.
So gun 2 has been blown out. So now we'll come up here, we'll turn gun 1 on. You'll visually make sure it opens. Once that's good, we'll come up from top. We'll start by closing your recirc valve here. Once that's all the way closed, we'll move up to the air valve. We'll give it a little bit of air, close it. Give it a little bit of air, close it. And on the third time, you can open it a little bit more, give it a little more air, a little more air. And we'll just waiting for as much material out as we can. Once it starts spitting a bunch of air out, then we can close this. And we'll move down to this valve. This valve clears out the bypass hose between the pump and the bypass valve. So it's just a quick open and close, that's all it needs. Once we're done with that valve, then we can move down. Come down to this valve, the bypass valve. We would close this, and then we blow down using this air valve. Give it a little bit, give it a little bit, and then the third time, open a little bit more. Again, we're just watching to make sure all the material's coming out. Once we start getting a bunch of air out of it, then we can close it. Once we're done there, come down to gun 1 valve. We would close this, give it a little bit, and then the third time we give it some more. Once we get all the material out of the line, we start spitting a bunch of air out. Then we know the system's clear of material. Then we come back to the top. Turn our gun 1 off. Gun 1 is off. That closes the gun. Then we start turning off our burners. Turn off our material pump. And we start doing the yellow or white side. White side is going to be similar. We only have one gun on the white side, so we don't have to blow out anything other than that one gun. So it's the same process. We would turn gun 1 on, go to the top, close the recirc valve, give it some air, blow it down from there. Once we get that done, then we go to the top of the pump, give it one little blast of air, move down to your bypass valve. We close this, give it some air here, give it some air. Now we're looking at the gun, making sure the material's coming out of it until we get a bunch of air out of it. Once we get to that point, then we move down to this valve, we close this valve, give it some air here. That would blow out the last of the line. Once we're good there, we move back up top, we'd close the valve, or we'd close the gun, then we shut our pump off, and we shut our kettle off.
Any questions?
I remember doing this part at the minimum.
That would be your material pump.
Is that it?
Yep.